Welcome to episode 253 of the Working Fans Podcast, where today myself and the man called Dave will be talking a variety of wrestling subjects. But
Hmm.
before we talk about that, we have to tell you about our great sponsor, Game Up. Game Up is a great hard hydration adult drink full of electrolytes, flavor. Dave, give them the stats.
Oh man, you talking about that lemon lime? You talking about fruit punch, orange, and Joe's favorite, grape, of course. And it's only 110 calories, so enjoy yourself some Game Up and don't feel guilty about it.
100% now that it's summertime, load that cooler up with some ice, fill it with some Game Up. And we filled our last weekend with the first NXT pay-per-view from the UFC Apex. Dave, you regularly watch events in the UFC Apex. What did you think about Battleground? Did it differ greatly from a UFC event?
Yeah, and much more. Even Chevy talked about this. The look of it was a lot better because they filled it up with more people, and it just felt like a more, a little bit of like a party atmosphere. Whereas the UFC events at the Apex are very quiet, almost. You just see it's almost like they're playing into like the fight aspect of it. Like the punches and everything sounds louder, and I don't know. I liked more of the show with NXT and what they did with the Apex. I don't know how people generally felt about it. I felt like maybe it was hit or miss online. Like some people liked it, some didn't, but I liked it overall.
Now, what did you do you know what ticket prices usually are for the Apex?
Probably a lot higher than what people got in NXT for, because UFC events, boxing events, and stuff are notorious fairly high.
Well, the tickets for this, from what I found, were wild. According to the Sporting News, tickets started at $269.
Hmm.
And then from there, they ranged from 300 to 449. So, I mean, the place looked packed. It sounded great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the matches as much as I hyped up the NXT Underground match. For some reason, to me, that just felt a little underwhelming. And I don't
Yeah.
know what it is because I've enjoyed other underground matches, but it just didn't hit the way I thought it would.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of more of a disconnect for me too. I don't know what it was. Shayna Baszler, you figured she's awesome in a setting like that. Loa Vice has MMA experience, but at the end of the day, I don't know. Maybe it's just Loa Vice to me. I think they're trying to maybe, I don't know if she's a tweener or what, but to me, she's a heel and Shayna's a heel. I didn't really feel like, super connected to one. I didn't sympathize with one. So maybe that was part of the issue just going in there. Maybe just basic storytelling was missing a little bit for me.
Yeah, that's a good point because I was wondering what it was. Like they both have that MMA experience. They're both been featured well in NXT, so it's not like it wasn't built up. And they really had their women's division on display during this event because you had the 6-woman ladder match for the North American title. I did not expect Kalani Jordan to win it.
Yep.
I thought, like, for me, it was Soul Ruka. That Soul Snatcher move is just so wild that I'm like, she's athletic. She feels like the next big thing. And I don't know. I've been keeping up with NXT, I'd say the last month and a half. And I've been trying to like figure out who all these women are. And
Right.
to me, the Kalani Jordan win just came out of nowhere.
I felt like it was interesting to me because she was the one I didn't see winning it. But then in retrospect, I was like, maybe that's why she won it. Maybe she needed it the most out of some of these other women. Maybe other women had more character, more coming up, and maybe more potential to do other things and stand out. That they thought Kalani is a solid talent, but hey, let's put the title on her to make her feel a little special.
Yeah, because I've seen her come in and help. She was helping Thea Hale when she was
Mm-hmm.
getting the attacks from the others. Also going to the big Jordan Grace match with
Yeah.
Roxanne Perez. I mean, I was surprised no titles changed hands. I was
Mhm.
also surprised that Ash by Elegance
Mhm.
was the one TNA appearance when, that's what ever since Jordan Grace and Ethan Page have come in, people are wondering who else is coming in, and I would not have guessed Ash.
No, not at all. I also thought that felt a little flat to me in the sense that if you're trying to protect Jordan Grace and you're trying to cause more of an interference finish, I thought that was kind of a weak interference finish. Like in the sense, Jordan kind of knocked them both out, then got back in the ring, and then got caught, and then got finished. I just thought, I don't know. I just thought from TNA standpoint of view, they could have maybe done something a little more screwy to protect Jordan Grace.
Yeah, TNA has a event tonight against all odds on the Triller app.
I wonder if
So
they'll show
who
up for that
knows?
too.
Maybe we could see some NXT appearance pop up on that. And speaking of WWE, big event tomorrow in Scotland, Clash at the Castle. Been built up for a little while here. We are going
Mm,
to go down this card,
let's do it.
make some predictions. From what I've seen, 5 matches on the
Yep.
card, and this is where WWE is killing it. You've got Bianca and Jade defending their tag titles against Alba Fire and Isla Dawn,
Hmm.
and against Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Do you
So
see one of these teams upsetting Bianca and Jade?
no, I'm gonna go with Bianca and Jade. I think that's the safe money. But um, if you were to do something here, I mean, you could have Alba and Isla Dawn say get the win over Zoe and Shayna. They don't have to pin Jade or Bianca, and then you could do some kind of self destruction of Bianca and Jade. But I just don't see they haven't built up anything like that, so I don't see why we would take the titles off of Jade or Bianca yet. Also, I think Alba was it Alba Fire, whose mom did you hear about this? Got hit by a vehicle.
No.
She died. She passed away. She got while visiting in Orlando on vacation about a month ago, I guess. She her mom got hit by a car and killed. And I was kind of wondering, like, if this is going to be like an emotional thing even more now, if this crowd's going to connect for these two. So it's an interesting development. Art imitates life. Unfortunately, I'm sure this poor girl's trying to uh, bounce back in her real life here. But I do wonder if this match is going to end up having a little more connection with the crowd for the people who may know about this.
Well, also Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, they are Scottish, I believe,
Yeah,
so they're kind of like that hometown representation. I don't see Bianca and Jade losing it, but I see maybe somehow something that's gonna happen here could lead to a crack in the relationship that over time might expand. But I don't see the tag titles being dropped. A good question if a title will be dropped. Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, a
mm,
great story they've been telling
yeah.
since Sammy went for that Intercontinental Championship. I'm going to call an upset on this. I feel like Gable is going to get that championship, and then we're going to have Sammy with the chase for Gable after that.
I know Gable's contract is up, and I think they feel like they're going to have him signed. So I think that'll be very interesting to how that plays in this match, possibly too. I keep feeling like I want Gable to win this, but is it that I want Gable to win? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, Sammy just got this title, but then I keep thinking one way to go about it is they keep having Otis and all of these guys look like they're the abused ones or getting manipulated. But what if Otis at the last minute, nope, I take Sami Zayn's head off with a clothesline, we lay him out, and now Chad's the Intercontinental Champion, and he's got this entourage fully in his corner, and he was the master manipulator all the time. So I have thought about that. I guess I'm gonna go. I'm gonna agree with you, even though part of me thinks I'm going with my heart here, but I'm gonna go with Chad Gable.
Another match that I think it's going to be a little easier to pick, but once again, home country playing into this. Bailey defending the WWE Women's Championship against Piper Niven. It's going to be a great match.
Mm-hmm.
I think this match could steal the show,
Yeah,
but it's got to be Bailey with the win.
I can't argue there. I can't argue there. Got to go Bailey. Um, You think AJ? Well, let's get to that because we're still got some more. Man, we already said we do think Chad Gable's winning the Intercontinental Championship, though.
Yes. Next up, Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles. I quit match for the undisputed WWE Championship. And there's going to be no title change in this. This is going to be a great match. Once again, this could also quite possibly steal the show, but Cody's not losing to AJ.
No, he's not. I love this match because as soon as I hear Cody and AJ are in an I Quit match, I just get Terry Funk, Ric Flair vibes because, both former NWA champions in their own right. And I quit. I don't know. I love that. But yeah, I got to go Cody. You're not taking that title off him yet.
And before we get to this last match, I might be checking out Against All Odds tonight. I have to see what's on the card, but TNA has been very good with what they've put out. It's gotten very exciting with all the crossover. And yes, we are still doing commentary. Check out New Heights Wrestling on YouTube. We have an event that we're going to be calling very soon, and then a follow-up event at the end of the month. And very exciting things happening with New Heights Wrestling. We can't wait to dig back into that. But what looks like it's listed as the main event, any watch-alongs coming up? Probably not during the summer, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Our schedules are really dog shit right now. And man, we're cutting it close with any kind of free time we have. So we'd like to get back to the watch-alongs, but I'm going to say that's probably going to be after Labor Day. Maybe we'll do an all-in. We will have to see.
UK. See what's up.
But back to Clash at the Castle. Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, World Heavyweight Championship. On the face of it, you'd like to think Drew's winning. But does CM Punk show up in Scotland to cross Drew the match and further push that feud along that's been going on anyways?
What do you think? My man gets his Gatorade on here.
Damian Priest, not the greatest world heavyweight champion.
No. He just got it.
Yeah, and that's why he still had it such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
That maybe they have it where it looks like Drew won, but we get a dusty finish where it gets reversed. Somehow CM Punk is in there. I think CM Punk is going to involve himself.
Yeah.
And we're going to start getting Drew and CM Punk going forward to SummerSlam. Now, that's tough because that's the old Vince McMahon thing. People don't win in their home country. So,
yeah,
I'm putting it 55, like a little more in the chances of Damian winning.
I'm going to go with McIntyre, but I think it's really close. And I don't like this match for this reason, because I feel like Damian is doing okay, but he just had the title. So there's no real substance to this reign yet. And Drew, how many times are we going to screw the guy over in his time? Like it's, or how many times he's going to get stuff ripped from him, whether it's the pandemic, whether it's Money in the Bank, whether it's his hometown. It's just like, is he a heel or is he a face? Because I'm starting to feel bad for this guy, So he played a face pretty much on Raw this week, and I know he'll be a face this weekend in front of his home fans. So for that reason, I'm going to slightly lean towards Drew. This will be the match we disagree on because we have to have one we disagree on. And I will slightly lean towards Drew, and I will say that Punk will play a part in this, but it will lead to when they get back to the States. And I don't know, maybe they'll go in a different direction where Punk ends up being the heel or Drew is, I don't know. They have a couple things they can go with here either way.
100%. Randy with another question. Is the festival happening again this year? Well, the carnival is set up across the street as we speak. They look like they're getting electricians down there. There's going to be fireworks tomorrow, but I am going to be missing it because I am going to be in Boston, Massachusetts, taking in the great sounds of Unearth, Bleeding Through, All Out War, Overcast. It's going to be a great day. But hey, get your bracelets, get on the rides, and fireworks at 9 o'clock.
Who killed wrestling at the carnival, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. They got 4 initials, but we ain't gonna say them out loud. And speaking of, Chad's contract being up and us thinking he's gonna get the title, there is another man that had a contract coming up that got a title that did not keep him in WWE. Reports are this week that Ricochet is finishing up with WWE. This, I don't know. It's kind of sad because Ricochet was such a talent, got to WWE. Everybody expected so much. And then it didn't play out like we thought. And I was saying on TikTok Live this week that if you look from that Best of the Super Juniors match where Ricochet and Will Ospreay like made themselves notable, and you look where each man went from that match, Will Ospreay made it across the world, was an international superstar, had held belts, is held in high esteem in the wrestling world. And Ricochet kind of languished on the mid card in WWE.
Yeah.
Impressed us, but didn't get featured well until now. And it's almost like it's a little too late. Got that WWE speed title for a little bit,
Mhm.
but then that wasn't enough to keep him in. So do you think this is a good move for Ricochet, or
Yeah.
is this kind of reactionary?
No, I think it's a good move. I think, if you look at Ricochet's run, he started off good in NXT. I think Hunter liked Ricochet. I think he saw him for what a special talent he was. Vince never did. Now, however, when Hunter gained full control, you look, Ricochet was booked better, but I don't feel like he ever fully got around to whatever reason to fully developing and repackaging and reestablishing Ricochet. I think it was like, okay, no, we're going to make this guy better, but they never went all the way because they had so much talent. And I think it's almost like you're looking at all these people that were misused and who you want to use. And you start going, okay, well, let's do more with Chad Gable. Let's do something with Sami Zayn. And then it's like, here's Ricochet. We're going to get to him. Put the speed title on him for now. You know what I mean? But wait, your contract's up. And Ricochet's like, I don't really want to wait for that. It kind of reminds me of I think it's a Jake the Snake Roberts documentary where he's at Mid South Wrestling and he's doing well, but he's kind of wondering his place. And he has a conversation with Terry Taylor, and Terry Taylor's like, "What do you mean? Don't you get it? You're the top 5 babyface. You're number 5." And he's like, "Number 5." Like, I think I'm gonna go somewhere else. And I think that's what Ricochet's thinking. He's like, you know what? Things are okay here, but I think they can be a lot better. I think I can raise my stock over here. And I think with timing being everything, with All Out coming up in the UK, and is it All Out or All In? Which one is that? It's All In, right? Actually,
All In is the UK.
yeah,
All
that's the
Out is like the branded pay-per-view.
yeah. So All In the UK coming up, but that's probably going to be a massive crowd, and Will Ospreay in the company. I think you have the potential to do something there. And I just think you look at that time, and if you're Ricochet and you look at the championship matches and look at the good matches you can have initially and probably get a good payday and work less of a schedule, I think, boom, let's do it. And by the way, still a young enough guy. I think he's 35 or something like that. This contract rolls in a few years. He probably puts himself in a much better position.
All right, so you're thinking AEW then is going to be the best landing spot for him.
Absolutely. I mean, I have thought that he could do the Matt Cardona route and just like wrestle everywhere. But I think if he goes to AEW, then he gets to work with New Japan stars too. So, and I just think Will Ospreay made that comment that he'd love to have him as an opponent again. And I think it's too coincidental.
I'm going to pick the Matt Cardona route. He's got the connections with New Japan that he can do New Japan. He can pick and choose the indies he wants to work with, and he can choose to work with AEW. Matt Cardona's done it. Have there been any other stars that aren't signed to AEW that do work there from time to time? The Von Erichs. I don't know if they're signed. I haven't seen anything official, but whenever they come to Texas, the Von Erichs work with them. So I kind of see that journeyman thing for him. And it's to a point now where journeyman isn't necessarily nobody wants you, so you make do with what you can on the indies. These guys make their own schedules. They work where they want to work. They're able to work with a variety of places. Because I think if Ricochet goes to AEW, he could get that featured match with Osprey, but it's just going to be a different WWE type thing where he kind of gets lost in the mix of things. And, he could just as easily become stale there.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see what happens. I don't know. He's in a decent spot though. I think he's gonna be fine.
So we haven't talked much this week, Dave. We caught up a little before this, and if you thought the talk before the episode was wild, then you haven't watched Who Killed WCW. Have you gotten a chance at all this week to
Yes.
watch either of the 2 episodes that have come out?
I have. I've watched them both.
What are your opinions of the show, and are you learning anything new?
So Brad Siegel has his reputation of hating pro wrestling, I think. And I definitely
loving
don't think he loved
Goldberg.
it. What's that?
But loving Goldberg.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, it's very interesting. So it's like when I watched him, I really got the feeling like, okay, this is a business guy. Like, he's not a pro wrestling fan, but he also saw the purpose of pro wrestling at times. So I think it kind of got. I find it interesting that he's just not the way that was always built up. And he's like, I hate wrestling, get wrestling off the air. But if you listen to him, it's like, oh no, he saw the value in the ratings and he saw what they were doing. And strangely enough, yeah, he wanted Goldberg. He saw Goldberg as this family, for ad dollars, that Goldberg could be that family guy that everybody connects with, which I just thought interesting. That I mean, not that he isn't or what. It's like I don't know why. Like big bald guy. Like get him.
Plus, also Brad Siegel is a company guy, so he realized Ted Turner wanted it. And
Yeah.
I think realizing they're not going to get rid of it, he kind of saw the upside in it, because if you are viewing it as a TV thing, you're looking for, what it can bring in for you.
I heard Eric say this in the past, but I also thought it was very interesting and telling when he made that comment of why people didn't want them to work and why there was some jealousy. He's like, they had that prime time real estate, 8 to 10 on TNT. And I thought, yeah, I can totally see that, where especially wrestling was probably looked down upon back then, that a lot of other, like guys that had girls that had shows or want to get their, stuff on there. They're like, what the fuck? Let's get wrestling. Oh, that won't last. They got the highest ratings. Oh no. It's like, you can see that.
Has wrestling ever not been looked down on? Because I don't know how much you run into it. I run into it a mix where you talk about being a fan of pro wrestling, and then it's almost like you have to defend it.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I find funny is people that go, you still watch that?
Yeah.
Have questions about it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
It makes it into their news feed. So it's like, as much as it's universally looked down upon, it catches eyes no matter what.
One other thing too, I did like the clip of them on C-SPAN when they were talking about are they embarrassed to have pro wrestling on? And he said, we do great ratings, and he talked about how, they sold out the Georgia Dome, I think within an hour, he had said. I've heard some people dispute that claim, but regardless, the fact that discussion was taking place on C-SPAN to me, I was like, oh, that's wild. So,
yeah, I like seeing the people that you hear about sometimes. Like Jeannie Engel is a name I've heard Eric Bischoff talk about a lot. Brad Siegel. Who are the other people? Yep. And like I've listened to the Nitro books, so hearing some of that drama unfold and seeing the people is great. The toughest thing to take is how much I find this makes everybody kind of look bad.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not everybody, but Kevin Nash. Like, I know what his attitude is about it, but then when you see it, it's like, come on, man, you're killing me here.
Yeah.
The Turner exec people that just hate it and now have a chance to talk about it, those are kind of bummers. Another plus is seeing Ted Turner's son. Yeah, somebody that I didn't even know existed, but seeing that Ted Turner's in bad health, you kind of get that representation from him. And I've enjoyed it. It's another good Vice series, produced by the guys who do Dark Side of the Ring. We were talking in a group chat about how the Lapsed Fan has been doing episodes, recapping the episodes, but having guests on. To recap the first episode, they had on Guy Evans that wrote the Nitro book. For the second episode, they had Brian Alvarez that wrote the Death of WCW book. So
Alvarez
that's kind of
I have not
ancillary.
listened to that episode, but I know Brian Alvarez is not a fan of the series. So,
And I like it. It hurts because I enjoy WCW, or I enjoyed a period of WCW so much
me too.
that to see everybody fighting over who killed it, and then supposedly we're going to get everybody's opinions of who killed it in the last episode, where if you really watch the series and listen to the story, it's the meeting point of where all these people collide. It's having it on a channel that doesn't want it, having the people that run it make, at times questionable decisions. And it's that whole chaos around it that never made it work. WWF worked because even if Vince McMahon didn't necessarily get behind wrestling or like the term wrestling, it was a united front. Everybody was pushing towards one thing. So Randy really likes the series. We've got 2 more episodes left. We are going to be pre-taping next weekend's episode because we will most likely have commentary next weekend. But you know what we're also going to have next? Oh, fuck. I clicked the wrong button. You know what we're going to have next weekend, Dave?
We got
If you haven't tried Game Up, then you are missing out. Imagine your favorite seltzer and your favorite sports drink had a baby, but it's way better than that. Each can is 110 calories, low carb, 4.9 ABV. It's a nice light drink that is not light on flavor. Game Up comes in fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape. Pick it up at drinkgameup.com or at your nearest liquor store.
I think we pretty much all agree that Who Killed WCW is telling a great story, but another great story that's told by a very different man is this one.
Hey, all you goddamn wrestling fans out there, listen, Old Black Bart has got a book. It's called Wrestle. Like that. It's got some that good stories in there about some that good wrestlers.
Read stories of Dusty Rhodes, the Von Erich, Scott Casey, Sergeant Slaughter, Roddy Piper, Mr. Fuji, Ron Bass, Bruiser Brody, Mike Davis, the Grappler, and many others.
And I guarantee you one thing, that it'll be the best dadgum read you've had in a long time.
Get your book today at Russellville.com or on Amazon. Russellville, it's where wrestling lives.
Read about the Northern Wrestling Federation in the book presented by Russellville.com, The Pro Wrestling Vault, Volume 2. Hear the story of Roger Ruffin, the man who trained Carl Anderson, the Monster Abyss, Jordan Clearwater, Chris Harris, and Jillian Hall.
Plus 45 other short stories including Jazz, Bobby Eaton, Kamala, Thunder Rosa, Mario Mancini, Scott Casey, PJ Black, Kerry Morton, Sal Renaro, Jeremiah Plunkett, Colby Carino, Bam Bam Malone, and many others.
Get your book today at Russellville.com. Russellville, it's where wrestling lives.